simplest camera in the world. Just press the button and a motor hands it.
Radio Shack has the hottest thing on wheels today.
Well, we want Super Pong by Atari.
Yes, but
Super Pong's 4-color games are more fun.
Have you ever wondered about certain essentials that made your childhood worth it? Things you absolutely couldn't do without for one single day. From handheld entertainment that replaced television to wish books that became everyone's obsession, we'll have a look at things from the 1970s you just couldn't live without.
Get the Norelco VIP triple header. Get 18 rotary blades and 3 floating heads and 9 closeness comfort settings.
The 70s fascination of sleek futuristic gadgets led to the design of the buzzing electric shavers. This tool came when self-image was essential, and well-groomed faces could enhance both your lifestyle and opportunities. It was a step above traditional shaving cream and razor, which was messy, time-consuming, and needed water to rinse. The first electric razor hit the market in 1931, and by the 70s, Phillips, Remington, and Braun had all developed a sleeker and quieter model with advanced features like rechargeable batteries and portable cordless designs. The electric shaver provided professionals a quick and clean shave just moments before a meeting, and it was perfect for maintaining your mustache and sideburns, allowing stylish men to sculpt their facial hair with precision. Most men carried the shaver everywhere they went, especially on travels to different cities and other engagements which required last-minute grooming. In those days, the manual typewriter was a staple in every office and business. Corporate establishments were usually abuzz with the clacking sound of the typewriter as clerks churned out reports and correspondence for record-keeping. It was a tool that ensured every official document would be created for every purpose. The only setback was that manual typewriting had no backspace, and the only way to get rid of a mistake was to start fresh, which was usually a hassle. The skill of a proficient typist was in high demand, and those who could work the manual typewriter were regarded as communication professionals. Manual typewriters not only reserved for corporate businesses, writers, and journalists, but were also a rite of passage in schools as students learned how to use them and even used them to craft an essay and dissertation. There's no doubt the typewriter improved productivity in the 70s. However, it's more of a relic in today's world with the advanced touchscreen devices and word-to-script technology available. It will always be remembered for its role when technology was in its infancy.
I watch a lot of rugby league, and I think they have it right. It's still a ferocious league.
Remember Saturday afternoons listening to sports on a portable transistor radio? Or relaxing to the melodies of the Bee Gees or your favorite musical artists of the time? Portable transistor radios kept people informed of the news and world events, and were especially useful in a time of crisis. Many regions had issues with electricity in those days, and some places didn't have television, so they relied on the trusty transistor radio for news, views, and entertainment. It was a small and easy thing to carry, and teens who owned the transistor radio were able to explore their music, such as disco and punk, without parental interference. These devices evoked memories of a more simple time when the world around you could revolve around your radio.
And you went. You took your first steps over the threshold.
Next is the versatile cassette player, a device so flexible it completely revolutionized music sharing and consumption in the 70s, creating a more personalized way of storing your favorite song. The development of the compact cassette player by Philips in 1963 slowly gained popularity and then went mainstream in the 70s, with major brands creating sleek, affordable, and portable models like the home stereo with a cassette deck. Players in cars allowed you to listen to music on the go, but not only that, you could easily override pre-recorded materials on an old cassette with new stuff whenever you wanted. The portable versions provided freedom and allowed music enthusiasts to take them anywhere, whether it be on a camping trip, the beach, or even to school. It was a fun tool that became an essential part of our lives. Since the invention of the telephone in 1876, it's taken years for technology to evolve into a widely accessible device, and by the 20th century, the rotary phone, connected via a landline, became popular. Corded telephones with long curly cords could be found in almost every home, the primary means of staying in touch with distant friends, families, and colleagues, and the long cords allowed you to multitask, improving mobility during a long conversation. Teens could spend hours on the phone with friends, and lovers would even place a comfy chair next to it for a more relaxed conversation. The corded telephones were highly durable, unlike today's smartphones, and didn't require any batteries or charging. Some even worked during a power outage, making them important for emergencies. Polaroid cameras were a lifesaver in the 70s and played a major role in capturing moments, but not in the traditional way. What made them specifically essential was their ability to instantly capture and print a picture. This was the perfect feature and deeply cherished for its spontaneity. It was so popular that every home had a Polaroid camera. The foldable technology was easily portable and easy to use. The instant gratification made the camera likable, and teens could wear them over their neck at family events, parties, and weddings, capturing all of those special moments while giving the printout a small wave to fully materialize before handing it over. The cameras were not only integral for family celebrations and parties, but were used by travelers, adventurers, fashion enthusiasts, law enforcement, and more. Its reliability and efficiency made it a must-have. These cameras may have faded over time due to technological advancements and the emergence of smartphones, yet they remain an important part of history. Now what about roller skates? Shoes on wheels have been more than just a fancy mode of transportation. It's a cultural creation that became part of literally everything we did in the 70s. Always lit up a TV commercial, making it appealing to the younger audience, and were intertwined with music, fashion, movies, and art. Roller rinks were created for people of all ages to immerse themselves in skating activities as both fun and fitness, and the act of skating itself would provide a sense of freedom and adventure, instantly making you seem a whole lot more cool. It was that activity that everyone wanted to be part of, and those who didn't know how to use them didn't mind an embarrassing afternoon learning to balance while serving clumsy humor to the professionals. Platform shoes were another cultural trend that became quite popular in the 70s for their look and feel in an era of expression, rebellion, and style. These shoes came in all shapes and sizes and were recognized by their high soles, which gave the wearer a few inches in height. Earlier in the 60s, platform shoes were a part of women's wear, but by the 70s, designers had flooded the market with unisex designs. Platform shoes made individuals stand out, bringing a flair of confidence to the dressing. Because of its affiliation with disco, they were a go-to for nights out and other iconic parties of the era. The height could range anywhere from 2 to 6 inches, and while extreme custom-made designs went even taller, turning them into red carpet material. Sears and Roebuck Company dropped the first Sears Wish Book in 1933, and it became a necessity each year after. The iconic catalog displayed all the dreams and aspirations of the American household, providing everyone with adverts of products that they could aspire towards acquiring, especially when it came to the holiday season. The 70s were the golden era of the Wish Book catalog and were the centerpiece of all holiday planning for many families. The glossy pages featured an elaborate shopping experience. It was like window shopping at the mall, but through the pages of a book at home. The offers were unlimited, including everything from toys to dream houses, cars, appliances, clothing, and more. Really anything that you could think of. Flipping through the pages of the Wish Book was a fun activity for the family, and it improved bonding over material needs. For those who grew up in the 70s, it remains a missing part of the holiday season. Whatever did we do before Tupperware sets? Food storage was some seriously messy business with paper wrappers, nylon, and aluminum foil littering the refrigerator, and it could be difficult to properly store wet and dry foods, condiments, and leftovers in a tidy manner without having to overlap one over the other. Tupperware sets came onto the scene in 1946 as a lightweight, durable polyethylene pack for airtight sealing and storage, and it continued to evolve until the 70s when it became a household name. A necessity for food storage, it came in a variety of colors like orange, avocado, mustard yellow, and more. Tupperware preserved leftovers longer, reducing waste while saving money, and the sets even made perfect lunch packs for school children and office workers. The patented burping seal ensured the pack was airtight at all times, and Tupperware are still in use today because of their durability and efficiency. We've all seen movies such as Smokey and the Bandit where CB radios were used in trucks to communicate from one trucker to the other. You've probably also seen police vehicles communicate back and forth, receiving information on different frequencies, and it goes to show how versatile and necessary they are through the years and how they've evolved. Developed in the 1940s, the CB radio became accessible in the 60s, and by the 70s it gained popularity in the mainstream. The radio uses a short-range frequency and doesn't need any extensive equipment. By 1977, it was so common there were at least 20 million CB radio users in the United States, and what made them even more common with the youth was the cool communication phrases used by truckers such as Breaker, Breaker 19, What's Your 20, and everyone's favorite 10-4 Good Buddy. CB radios remain relevant today because of their ability to work perfectly in regions without any network connection. You never lived in the 70s if you didn't own a Stretch Armstrong toy. The super stretchy superhero action figures were some of the most captivating toys for kids, and unlike the traditional rigid action figures of that era, the Stretch Armstrong was stretchy and irresistible. No matter how far you stretched them, they always returned to normal size. Introduced by Kenner in 1976, the blonde and muscular action figures stole the hearts of children who were blown away by the ads of an elastic superhero. Even adults wanted a Stretch Armstrong for Christmas. The corn syrup-based gel inside the latex rubber body gave the toy its elasticity and made it one of the most in-demand toys of the era. It even showed up on the Sears wish book and took a seat right next to the CB radio of trucks as an aesthetic. If you grew up in the 1970s, you probably had a large vinyl record collection of different genres like funk, disco, rock, soul, and punk music. The experience of listening to vinyl records was different from other music storage types like cassettes and others, and it was the most artistic form of music collection, and vinyl collections were properly stored in paper packs and stowed away to avoid dust. Record covers were often large and fancy, and the vinyl discs were played on stereos with a sharp, pointy stylus, giving a small crackle before the music seeped into the air. Vinyl records brought people together and created a sense of community with record swapping at the top of the list. Whether it be a house party or a wedding, they provided that special atmosphere in an era where streaming and downloads were non-existent. One of the events that altered the lives of many was the 1973 oil crisis and the energy crisis in '79 that led to gasoline shortages and long lines at the station. The act of siphoning fuel became a common practice, and people couldn't do without it. Gasoline siphoning pumps were used daily to transfer gas between vehicles and give the emergency reserve a boost. Taxi drivers, truckers, farmers, and private car owners were dependent on gas to get through the day and maintain productivity. Whether it was for a family road trip or home storage, keeping a pump handy was necessary because you never knew when you'd need it.
How about a movie, lovely lady?
As far as dog, but with a flick of my Bic, I can see you're ahead.
Remember the Bic lighters of the 1970s? The quick, easy, and convenient lighters were a lifesaver when you went on a smoke break. Smoking was common back then and even allowed in most places. Health problems caused by smoking was not yet public knowledge. The act itself was considered cool. You'd find people smoking in every corner of the street, business areas, and even restaurants. And with a huge market available, the Bic Company, which was famously known for its ballpoint pens, decided to produce Bic disposable lighters. The lighter was pre-filled with enough fluid for thousands of lights and was disposable, and in a short period they took over the market, overtaking brands like Zippo. Smokers always had a Bic on them, and non-smokers acquired them for other reasons like camping, cooking, and other activities. And either way, the lighter was an essential commodity, further promoting the name of the brand. Solving basic math in school and the workplace became easier with the first line of handheld calculators in the 1970s. At first, they were expensive and only accessible by professionals who could afford them, but after the company Texas Instruments released the portable and affordable TI-2500, more people were able to get one. Brands like Sharp, Casio, and Hewlett-Packard came later and released scientific and financial models that revolutionized the entire concept. The handheld calculator helped businesses to save time that would have been spent on manual calculation while also reducing the margin of error. Students in schools finally had a companion to make math homework easier, and handheld calculators may be unnecessary today due to technological advancement, but they'll always be remembered as some of the most important gadgets of the 1970s. Thermos lunch boxes were an excellent choice for keeping your food fresh and at the right temperature, making them ideal for the workday, school, and even a trip. Vacuum-sealed thermos bottles ensured food and beverages stayed at the desired temp, whether it be hot or cold. Adults relied on them to keep their meals warm, especially those working in industries where access to commercial food was limited. To add to its functionality, which was ahead of its time, they featured designs inspired by some of the most iconic cartoon characters and TV shows, and movies like Star Wars, Charlie's Angels, and other pop culture favorites. Parents would often allow their children to choose the designs they liked so they could show off their cool lunchboxes to their friends. The insulating properties of the thermos were a game changer for factory workers, students, and others in occupations where meal access became a challenge. These lunch boxes provided a reliable way to enjoy fresh, home-prepared food all throughout the day. In an era where iconic hairstyles dominated the industry, portable hair dryers were the unsung heroes of perfect hair. Whether it was the perfectly feathered look of Farrah Fawcett, Pam Grier's afro sheen, or Raquel Welch's long and luscious locks, the dryer was always an ally, ensuring the perfect fix without the need for an expensive salon appointment. The early 20th century dryers were heavy and difficult to move, but in the 60s and 70s, the portable handheld became common. The compact, lightweight tool was connected to an electrical outlet before use, and brands like Clairol and Conair began to produce ergonomic and easily adjustable designs. Men also embraced the portable hair dryers as longer hairstyles for men would emerge. They transitioned from a luxury item into an everyday necessity for many households. Fans of coffee didn't go a single day without their coffee percolators. The fun machine was available in many households, loved for its ability to brew excellent dark coffee with a rich aroma and taste. It was invented in the 19th century and slowly evolved from manual stovetop models. By the 1950s, electric percolators became common, and by the 70s, it was a must-have appliance for the kitchen. The percolator was part of the daily ritual of coffee lovers who required consistency, durability to satisfy their daily needs, and more. Perhaps the most exciting thing was the recycling brewing method, which ensured there was never any waste.
Hey, you sorry, you hit it and you didn't lift it.
When the ping pong video game consoles came out, many were excited as it provided a reserved way to enjoy Pong in the comfort of your own home, rather than going to the arcade. The table tennis-inspired game was made by Nolan Bushnell in 1972 and featured 2 vertical paddles on both sides along with a bouncing ball. The simple, minimalist graphics of the game made it straightforward. Families could gather around the television to challenge each other. It was a game of reflexes and precision, and owning one of those consoles in the 70s meant that you would receive more visitors than expected. It gave rise to an inclusive gaming culture, which made it easy for people of any age to play. Which of these things made a difference to your childhood? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like the channel, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss another great memory in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.